Question of the day, what is your favorite television licensed IP game? Now, at first glance, it seems like there's not a ton, but actually there are. I just recently did the Squid Game, and I'm looking at Ozark over there, but also think about anything like Star Trek or Doctor Who or any of those classics, right? Let me know in the comments below, what is your favorite TV, television, IP-based board game or party game or whatever, because sometimes we delineate those. Because today we're taking a look at Stranger Things, and no, we will not be going back in and stealth editing and adding clock sounds and making you like or dislike characters more. If that's even true. I don't know. Somebody let me know in the comments below. Are they actually doing that? Anyway, because today we're talking about Stranger Things. It is a party game. In fact, you're based on season 3 and below, in which you're trying to avoid becoming infected by the Mind Flayer. Remember that guy? Anyway, you're becoming infected or trying not to become infected. You're passing cards around the table. It is a party game, so let's take a look how it plays, what it does, and we'll come back up, talk final thoughts right now. Alright, so Stranger Things, Attack of the Mind Flayer. So, here's what you get. You get these great coasters. Now, I'm saying coasters, it calls them tokens, but front and back, they have them knocked out on the back, and on the front, they have them wide awake and ready to action. But, no joke, a little Mod Podge on those, you've got some great coasters, because they're not super thick, but you Mod Podge them to keep the water out. Just saying, that's an extra addition. You also have some cards here. You have a bunch of these different meeting cards, it calls them. There's actually quite a few. You're going to shuffle them up, and you're going to choose 3 for the game. Because essentially this is also kind of the timer. You're also going to shuffle the cards based on player count. Now it plays up to 10, so there's a lot of options. Based on player count, you're going to shuffle these cards up, and you're going to give 3 to each player. Now in these cards are all sorts of things. You got Mind Flayer cards. If you ever get 3 Mind Flayer cards and you cannot counteract them prior to getting them with memories, what that means is if you have 3 already and then you gain a memory, you do not unmind flay, you're already mind flaying. However, if you had 2 Mind Flayer cards and you had one of these memory cards and you got a 3rd Mind Flayer card, well then you are not possessed. You have to have 3 of these symbols that are not counteracted. Much like it, there's Helping Hand, which stops a hard hit. A hard hit, you get 3 of those, you're knocked out. Ideally, what's going to happen is the players are going to be taking their cards. You'll draw the top card off the stack. Now there are meeting cards mixed in. Again, there's 3 of them shuffled, 3 sections of the deck. You'll turn a card up and you'll choose to give it to somebody. Now you may know that someone's a Mind Flayer possessed person based on what you've been giving them, or based on how they're acting, or based on, like some weird unearthly stench of some sort. Maybe the underground. I don't know. Have we ever discussed that? Does the upside down smell different? It's gotta, right? That slimy stuff. Anyway, you get 3 hard hits, you're knocked out. However, these can be blocked by a Helping Hand. So the same rule applies there. Depending on how many Helping Hands you have versus hard hits, and when you get them in your hand, you can stay in the deck. You're going to draw these cards and pass them to people, so you'll just get a bunch of cards in your hand. The meeting cards are going to have events on them, things that you do. So let's read a few of these. Junkyard. Choose 2 players with at least 5 cards. During this meeting, in addition to the cards given to the adjacent players, they must give each other a card and place it face down under their character tiles. Now, during the meetings, normally, you're going to take a couple cards and you're going to pass one to your left, one to your right. So choose 1 card from your left, 1 card from your right. Now again, this is going to help you get cards out of your hand that don't need to be there if you're trying to not be possessed, or it's going to help you possess people if you already are possessed. At the end of the game, as soon as there are 1 or 2 players in play, that's one way it ends. Basically, if people are knocked out, or after the 3rd meeting is fully resolved. Then you check it and see all possessed players start growling to call the Mind Flayer to them. Not going to do that. And then, like, there's a level of silliness I will do in gaming, but I will not growl. You will not make me growl. I'm kidding. I don't care what you do. It's fun. Followed by all the same players who are in play who stand up and applaud. Have you ever tried standing up when there's food and drinks on the table? You might knock something over. That's why you want to Mod Podge these and make them coasters. All joking aside. So if there's at least 1 sane player in play, the sane players win. If everybody's possessed, obviously the possessed players win. Now granted, which actually means you all win, which is why this interesting little caveat is here. You can play a series of games, and in that, you're going to find Eggos. Now, Eggos are just, waffles. They're not Eggos, right? Waffles are just generic cards, but they don't hurt you, they don't help you, except for if you're playing a series of games, after the 3rd game, or whatever you choose to play, the person with the most waffles is the individual winner, which really mitigates that whole, we were all possessed, so we all win, kind of. Because if everyone's possessed, yes, technically, everyone loses but also wins because you're on the possessed side. So essentially you're trying to avoid that. But the person with the most waffles at the end of a set of games wins the game. And again, this plays up to 10. So it plays quick. You can run a series of these in 5, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and be done. So that is how you play Stranger Things Attack of the Mind Flayer. Coasters. Look at the art though. That's what I was talking about. Look at the art. Really nice. Max taught us all that there's this great song that we all forgot about. Billy, much love, bro. That's a game. So that is Stranger Things Attack of the Mind Flayer. Now, let's talk first and foremost, as we always do, art, then art direction, then gameplay. I really like the way this game looks. There's something to be said about this beat-up style of art. Now, in the cards themselves, the drawn images look good to me as well. I'm always a fan when the images, they're either drawn of the stills of the show, or they're at least, you know, edited to make them look like they're not just straight photos from the show. And a hot button for me is when people take just the straight images and put them in games. It feels cheap to me. This one doesn't do that. This one has a nice 80s aesthetic. It looks like you found this at a yard sale, as we call them in the South, or an estate sale, perhaps. But regardless, it looks like something old, and I'm a fan of that already, making it look old. As far as the art direction, well, there's not a lot of it, really. Honestly, you have cards with symbols, and they're not even symbols. They just do certain things. If you get an ego, you're fine, and that's a way to win a 3-in-a-row game. If you have the character cards, they look nice. But all in all, the game is not about art or art direction. It's about playing and manipulating your friends. Ideally, if you're the Mind Flayer team, your goal is to get other people possessed by the Mind Flayer so that you can all win together collectively as Mind Flayed people. If you're trying to win as the regular people, you're trying to make sure that no one else gets possessed, or at least not you. Now, the game itself plays in a sense that you're not trying to win individually unless you play with that module. Technically, you could just play it collectively and, hey, we won as a team. Now, as far as the gameplay depth, this game has an audience, right? Now let me just explain what I mean by that. This is not a game that you're going to sit down and go, let's play a party game tonight with your normal party game crowd. This game is directly intended to get eyeballs from people who love the show to go, oh, what's this, right? It's not my favorite party game. It doesn't even stack in my top 5 or anything like that, because the party games I like are going to be more like Werewords and, you know, Just One and things like that, where you're trying to figure something out. Whereas this one is more, I need to get this card to someone else and hopefully I can help that person. It is fun though. It does have elements of the show. It does have elements of let's chat, negotiate, and figure out who to give cards to and who not to. But at the end of the day, the meat of the game is in the fact that it is the IP of Stranger Things, not so much the gameplay itself. There are better party games out there, but if you are a fan of the show and you like party games and you're always trying to introduce people into this hobby, this is a good one to do because there's so many fans of the show. People love party games, and it plays very quick. My only gripe with it is I just wish there was a little more meat on the bone as far as things you could do rather than just get cards and give cards. That to me has always kind of been my least favorite type of party game. But at the end of the day, it looks good. It does play pretty fast. I do like that it even adds the module in where the person who collects the most egos is the ultimate winner, because it is always nice sometimes in your group to have an ultimate winner versus just, you know, a team win of, oh, we beat them, or oh, we lost. So I like playing with that module. I think it's smart to do that. The game plays quick. It resets quick. It's an interesting game. I think that there are going to be a lot of people who buy this and play this and go, oh, that was neat. I don't think there's going to be a lot of people who buy it and go, well, that's trash. I don't like that at all. It has its audience. It has its purpose. I will play, you know, Just One or Werewords, you know, 9 out of 10 times over this. But at the end of the day, it is a neat product. It's a cool idea. I just wish there was a little more to do than pass cards. And I even made the same critique, I guess, about Hello Neighbor, the game where you're taking cards and passing cards and stuff. So at the end of the day, if you enjoy Stranger Things and you enjoy party games, this is a no-brainer. If you don't like Stranger Things, this actually still works because of what type of game it is. If you don't like party games and you don't like Stranger Things, well, this is obviously a miss for you. So at the end of the day, interesting concept, great art, looks good, the package looks good, price point's low. Good introduction to get people into the hobby, especially if you've got those people on the fringes you've been trying to get in to play games with you. This is a great one for that. So I'm Bryan Drake here on the Dice Tower. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, etc. at Dice Tower Bryan. Until next time, we'll see you.